Hey guys, this is my COM 181 speech, my informative speech. I am doing it on Charles Darwin. Science is such a fun topic. For me, the fun is in watching and learning from our surroundings. Of all the great minds in science, Darwin is the first one I think of. Without him and his theory of evolution and natural selection, science would not be where it is now. Darwin studied wildlife and plants for most of his adult life, observing how species varied and how they were similar. With animals, he began to notice how offspring carried traits from each parent, and how certain traits were passed down regarding the environment it was born into. This became the theory of natural selection. In simpler terms, only the strongest survive. Darwin turned the world on its heels with its publication of On the Origin of Species. Finally, there was another explanation of how we came to be, more than simply a creator. Fossils we found in the ground made more sense. Varieties of birds, cats, dogs, all a bit more explained. During his time on the Galapagos Islands, while observing all the species, he noticed how patterns on tortoises were related to different parts on the island. The most striking diversity Darwin noticed was the beak variations in sizes of the island's finches. There are 14 species of finches on the Galapagos Islands, and for species that ate majorly different diets, they had differently shaped beaks. Larger, more powerful beaks for seeds, smaller, thinner beaks for insects and fruit. There's also even a finch that utilizes using tools like small twigs to get into a hole that is simply too small. And here I've got a photo showing all of the different sizes. You have a thinner, smaller beak for insects and leaves, some bigger beaks for utilizing the tools, seeds, grubs, and even fruits. Darwin helped to shape other scientific fields as well. He explored geology by watching how sands and fossils were on beaches after an earthquake happened in Chile that raised the level of the land and made fossils prominent. He helped paleontologists by collecting fossils of animals and plants that he had found. He helped all scientists by creating a better understanding of the scientific method and how research is formulated and interpreted as well as shared. The scientific method has 3 steps. You formulate a hypothesis, you create experiments, and you deduct from those experiments. And finally, you refine your hypothesis based on the results of the experiment. His other theory, that of evolution, has been accepted by the scientific community, most of the general public. His theory of evolution is based on genetic mutation over lineage. It goes hand in hand with natural selection. Like, let's say a member of a species grows a set of wings and learns to fly. That trait would be passed down along its offspring until only the species that had wings, which he called the superior species, bred out the inferior genes. His theory is a slow, gradual process. To quote the man himself, he said that she can never take a great sudden leap, referring to natural selection, but must advance by short and sure through slow steps. Most of us have examples of scientific intervention and of natural selection in our own homes. We just don't know it. Domesticated dogs and cats, for example, are a far cry from what they used to look like. We have bred out the undesirable traits and kept the desirable ones. Short hair, less frequent shedding, although with some good is always some negative too. Like, for example, we have a bull terrier here. This was the breed about 100+ years ago. It was very athletic. And then now, thanks to genetically altering it, it has a thicker skull, a shorter stature, and not near as muscular as it used to be. So there's not always pros in science. There are some cons. Sadly, only about 33% of Americans believe that we evolved from organisms and not from a superior being. While the scientific community has accepted this, most of the general public does not. they base theirs on religious beliefs. But I'm not here to start a religious debate. I'm just trying to state some facts and some stuff that I learned from Darwin. He taught me, for the most part, that we need to observe and learn from our surroundings. There is so much that we can still learn from nature and animals, as well as ourselves. All we have to do is open ourselves up to it and look around. Thanks, guys.